There you go, camera. All right, cool. All right, Rome.
All right, man. Big announcement.
Big announcement. Guys, so you might have seen like some of the social media stuff I've been pushing out about this thing called the Gump movement, G-U-M-P movement. And as you guys may know, Forrest Gump, we are pulling that, but Gump is an acronym. Gump is an acronym for
giving up mental problems.
I already fucked it up.
What's wrong with it? Fucking
whatever. We're all not nothing down like it. And we just started this thing like a day ago, so I'm gonna mess it up. So yeah, we're tired of people giving up on mental problems. We really are, you know. And both Rome and I, we suffer from bipolar. And you know, our bipolar has brought us to some really dark depths, and most importantly it's because we lived in silence about it, because no one understands it, and when we do talk about it, no one is really educated enough about it to know how to really talk about it appropriately with people, and honestly sometimes makes the situation worse. And not only that, you know, I am finally breaking the silence of, you know, I just found out recently that I was suffering from bipolar. You know, and imagine being 28 and then putting everything around your life for like, geez, this is why certain things happen. But there's a bigger thing that I know I personally want to bring out, which is, you know, me coming out, and this is the first time I ever came out about it over a decade of going through it. You know, I am someone who you would never expect, but someone who suffered from domestic abuse. Now, it's kind of weird seeing a guy say it, but it happens. It happens, and it's horrible. And it's hard because the society that we kind of built into masculinity, the double standard on the way physical abuse is handled, it creates a very toxic playing field of being able to discuss certain emotions that you know that if the gender was taken out, or you flip the script and you know like where that narrative would have went, it makes you realize like there's something wrong. And we're all about equality. We find it great that there's this really strong feminist movement going out there, but as men, there's a very big issue going on, and I'm tired of seeing people die over it.
Yeah.
You know? I want to say it. Rome and I talk about it all the time. These shootings, these poor innocent people who are dying because this one person, before they pulled the trigger, that person's been dead. Someone, you know, on a 6 Minutes of Legendary episode with Will Little, it talks about, he's a guy that murdered someone, got out of prison and changed his life. And he says a very distinctive line in it. He says, murdering someone is just like suicide, because when you kill someone, you kill yourself. Because the reason is because as human beings, we're not programmed to kill. That's why PTSD came out. I suffer from PTSD because I went through some serious trauma of the physical abuse around things that that person was suffering from. And they were in denial about it because they suffer from OCD. You know, and people don't understand like really what OCD is, because if they did, they would never joke about it. Guys, OCD is literally like someone who can't function unless they do something that is a ritual. And if, let's say, something mild happens, could be even breathing in that direction, that person's gonna feel compelled, if the anxiety is so high, to do it. It's so debilitating, and to watch it. And the problem is with mental health, when it goes undiagnosed and people don't know about it, or you're living that, you know, when you're living in denial, your friends are affected, your families are affected, your marriages are affected. It's crazy that people who have ADHD, bipolar, depression, look at the divorce rates. Part of me doesn't believe that people who have mental problems just can't be in relationships. No, it's because people just don't know how to manage a relationship with people who have mental problems, because either the person who has mental problems is so ashamed of having it that they don't want to put a label on it, because society, when we put a label on, hey, we have bipolar, they're going to be like, oh, these two kids are going to jump off a bridge.
Exactly.
No.
You know, not a lot of people have outlets to talk to other people, you know, especially for me personally, suffering from depression, anxiety. One of the hardest things that I had gone through was just not being able to talk to anybody. I was just suffering in silence, doing it alone, you know, for years. And so we're just trying to be kind of an outlet for people to relate and maybe to talk to one another and just kind of destigmatize mental illness as a whole. Because I think that's what's so wrong in society right now is like, we know this is all going on, but we're not looking at the reasons why and how to fix it, you know? So we're trying to do something about it, you know?
100%. 100%. We're tired of it.
Yeah.
We're really freaking tired of it. The fact that every person who commits suicide, who is committing essentially suicide to themselves when they kill innocent people, yet we're not going to the source. Guys, we don't grow up at 5 years old saying that we want to become mass murderers and serial killers. I mean, if you watch these shows, what brings us as a human being to the point where we need to do something that is not programmed in us, right? I mean, if you look at a baby, that baby is a pure fucking being. Purest thing. I love seeing babies. They have no clue how crazy this world is that they're about to get into, but they're pure. Do you think those fucking babies are thinking about killing people? No. You were 5 years old. I wanted to be a freaking astronaut, right? Or a rock star. You know, you don't think about these things, but what happens is, at some point, something hurts you. Something makes you realize that your dreams are not worth it. And then you become suppressed in other areas. Then people start to say, hey, you're weird, but you're just being yourself. Then you start changing your identity. And then you realize when you're changing your identity that no one still accepts you. And then you fall into isolation, and then you throw mental health problems, then you maybe throw abuse or bullying, and then you realize that your family you can't really connect with, and then you realize that you're in isolation mentally, but you have to walk around with this mask while still getting kicked on the ground. Guys, these people who are doing these heinous things, there's something suffering. And honestly, I want to get to the root of that. I want to know what led up into that. And hopefully with the Gump movement and what we're trying to do, we're going to be longboarding as crazy two dudes. Because we know this needs to happen. We are longboarding from Fort Collins, Colorado, all the way to Santa Cruz, California. Because 6 Minutes of the Legendary, that is a show that I developed during a time that I was trying to commit suicide, and I was in a hotel room and I was literally making music to, you know, distract myself, either before it happened or right after it happened. I used that as an outlet to kind of see beauty in things through authentic dialogue, through people showing vulnerability. And with someone who suffered from OCD as a partner, I couldn't cry, because part of the things what most people don't understand with people who really suffer from OCD, like if they suffer from a contamination OCD, anything bodily fluid is like a big thing. So crying, it's not, you know, imagine if you can't exhibit that kind of emotion because someone's suffering and they're living in denial about it. So, like, hearing other people be vulnerable was a way for me to channel something that I knew I was suppressing, that human behavior needs to feel. So we are longboarding from here to Santa Cruz because 6 Minutes of Legendary was inspired through real, raw emotions, and nothing was contrived. It just kind of channeled during something that was very dark. The music was developed through an outside party that made music that... Alright guys, sorry about that. iPhone storage was full. But we try to keep it to authentic dialogue, and we're not trying to be like other YouTubers that just do a bunch of cutscenes. So whatever happens when cameras rolling,
we're rolling with it.
So let's go right into the details, right? So Yeah, we are longboarding from here to Santa Cruz, California, because that's where the headquarters of 6 Minutes of Legendary was founded. And what's great is that this whole thing was developed through authentic shit. Christopher Lockhead was one of the first people who identified that I was being abused in my relationship for how I acted. That opened up into 6 Minutes to Legendary, which was a project that he believed in me that I could develop. And then that just developed into this manifestation of me being able to describe my pain and suffering through music, which as a musician, that's kind of like where I found my roots. Then creating the music during a time of dark times and trying to deliver a message, and also taking and embracing from what I learned in treatment from Brene Brown's, which is a very good TED Talk of the art of vulnerability. I was just trying to display vulnerability through other people's acts of vulnerability through audio and illustrating it and giving it consciousness through music, in hopes that maybe it will move people and inspire people to break out of silence. And me being open about the experience could maybe help other people get the strength to be like, hey, if he could do it, I could do it too. And that beautiful thing just happened. Rome and I just met about 2 weeks ago. We always saw each other in an apartment complex, but we were kind of like those guys who are like, hey, what's up? And that's it. But he heard about 6 Minutes of Legendary and heard my What the Fuck Is This episode, where I opened up about what the fuck it is and how it was developed. And then he ended up snapping me at 4 in the morning because he thought maybe I'll be actually sleeping, but I couldn't sleep, obviously because of the PTSD. And he said exactly what I wanted to develop this with, which he broke out of his silence. He reached out to me. He felt like he had a safe platform. And I don't know if you want to describe when you heard the episode and how that gave you the courage to reach out pretty much to a stranger.
It was inspiring to me because, you know, he's saying, you know, that he has bipolar, he's struggled with, you know, suicidal ideation on his podcast, and I just thought it was courageous, and I knew I had to say something because I want to make a difference. You know, I've attempted suicide 3 times, and I need to tell people not only my story, but to know, for other people to know that they're not alone. Like, there's people going through the same thing that you're going through, and we all can help each other, you know. So I contacted him like 4 in the morning, you know, saying like, hey, like, I just want to say I really relate with you, and I see you're trying to make a difference, and I want in, you know. So,
yeah. And we're just 2 guys who use longboarding as an outlet. We were like, I longboard by myself. And he was like, I longboard by myself too. And I was like, why don't we just longboard together? And then we just started longboarding.
Team was for.
Yeah, and then we started a long vlog, which is this that you're listening to now. And we just realized that if you open yourself up to an adventure and be vulnerable and talk to people, it actually could open us to some really fun stuff.
Yeah. And this is also kind of helping me, you know, get out of my shell. I've struggled with a lot of social anxiety in the past, and I know something like this would be good for me to talk to people that I don't know, like meeting new people, you know, every day, and, you know, learning from their experiences, you know, and maybe teaching them something, you know, and just kind of trying to bring the world together, you know, one person at a time, you know.
And what's great about this, guys, is like, it's not hard. We're just trying to. Sorry, guys. My good friend Joan reached out to me. I just told her. I just opened up about. See, part of the thing of doing this is, you know, opening up. It's the hardest part is breaking the silence, and I'm reaching out to all my friends that I know were part of my life and just being honest with them, you know, about my being abused, you know. It's hard, it's really hard and emotional, but I feel like the setting of announcing that we're doing this Gump movement where we're gonna be traveling from here to Santa Cruz, and we're gonna try our best to deliver this message around mental health, around things such as, you know, domestic abuse towards men. Sorry guys, this is me, make sure it's recording. Joan left me a voicemail. And more importantly, we need to build this movement where we could talk about a very serious issue where it's not with dead bodies on the floor, right? Like, think about it. Those poor souls that died because someone was already dead, that fired that trigger. It's like, their names, unfortunately, when you hear all these shootings, it's like we got so numb to it now, you know?
It's like, all right.
It's like we give it a week reset, and then that's it. And it's not fair to those lives who suffered. It's like I suffered from domestic abuse because I was living with someone who was denial about their mental problems. And all those lives that got taken was because someone was suffering probably from something that was a lot deeper than anyone's willing to go into and talk about. And it's not fair. Okay, iPhone, Apple, we seriously have a storage problem and we are actually looking for sponsors. So I know you had a product placement on Forrest Gump. It's the movie, so if you want to get involved with this, I mean, we're just two dudes trying to change the world. So, something to think about. Anyway, what I was saying before, listen, the people who unfortunately passed away from someone who was suffering, more than likely, it's like their names, I don't want them to be forgotten. I don't want that to go unheard of, because I know from my own personal battle with domestic abuse because of somebody who was suffering from a mental illness, like, it's like the collateral damage of someone who's really suffering and is living in silence is a real big thing. Obviously, people are dying because of it. And we want to try making the lives that were taken because someone who was suffering and did something horrible because of it, just to deliver a message that, if anything, we could deliver a positive one where no one's getting hurt. We're empowering people, we're inspiring people, we're trying to help people come out and break the silence. There's a reason why there's men that's doing all these things. You don't see women doing mass shootings. You don't see a lot of women as serial killers. There's a stat out there that shows that men are the most loneliest gender. I think it's like after the age of college, most men don't even have friends. Guys, other than killing another person, the worst thing a human being does to another person is put them in isolation. And at least if you know, if you did something really horrible, to put yourself in a freaking padded room, at least you know what, you're in a physical padded environment. It's imagine like being in that, like, you know, isolation, but it's mentally. You're mentally stuck with the secret, with something that you're struggling with that you don't want anyone to know about. You're fucking in isolation. But you have to wear the mask.
Yeah.
You have to wear the mask.
Not anymore, though.
Not anymore.
And so that's why you just gotta say fuck it, you know, because life's short, we're all gonna die, you know, so who cares if people know about.
Alright, so iPhone, we're gonna wrap it up. We need a sponsorship. Alright, get it, let's wrap this up.
Fuck it, because life is short, you know, so who really cares if you have mental problems or not, you know?
Yeah, and who cares if,
because we're all different. Every single one of us is wired differently, so like just because you're wired a certain way doesn't mean you should be looked at any different, you know? So we're just here to, you know, bring awareness to that, you know? So fuck what people say, do you, no matter what, and just be kind to other people, you know, because you never really know how it'll affect them.
Exactly, and we're gonna show that if you give someone 6 minutes of time of real, authentic dialogue, it could change the world. And we're gonna do that through the Gump movement.
So join us.
Help us, support us, because these two guys, he looks like Lieutenant Dan. And I'm gonna shave my head to look like Forrest Gump. And we're gonna freaking do it. And you know what? We encourage every single person who's suffering from mental health, who maybe feels like they don't fit in. All the Island of Misfit Toys, come follow us, because we are going to change the world. We're going to make things a better place, and we're going to make people feel like they don't have to resort to hurting other people or living in denial, and most importantly, hurt themselves.
So if you don't think you have
we're gonna change the world.
So if you don't think you have an outlet, you do now.
Yeah.
No fucking excuses.
And in the link,
come board with us.
Yeah. And in the link is gonna have our map. We're doing it. Whether we have Apple boosted boards, who else do we want to try to get in? Apple boosted boards, Ellen DeGeneres on our show. I would love a shout out from The Rock, that would be pretty sweet. And Gary Vee, if you want to do anything with us, that would be cool. Who else do we really want to get? Oh, some skateboard brands, Santa Cruz skateboards. I mean, all right, this is the last and final time. Yes, Apple, we definitely need a freaking sponsorship from you. Plus, camera dies all the time. It's not fair, right, camera? I mean, you already have a battle scar on you because I keep scratching you. But we got something from OtterBox, and OtterBox, I already reached out to your store in Fort Collins, and dude, we're in Fort Collins too. Why don't we create like Gump movement, like, you know, little things. And we also want to do something with the Semicolon project. So everything that we're trying to do, we want to give it back. So any brands who want to partner with us, and hey, like, I mean, dude, I mean, I don't like to say that we're not, but I feel like we're pretty camera ready.
Yeah.
But like, hey, we can make your product look great. But more importantly, this is a big movement. We want brands to partner with us because the more brands and the more megaphones we got, perhaps we could change the world together. And that's what it's all about. Because
yeah, be visible, be vocal, you know, don't care what other people think. I've got a semicolon on my thumb, you know. And I don't give a fuck what people think of me, you know. This is my story, you know, and it's continuing. I'm writing new chapters every day, and I encourage you to do the same. So
we're gonna be rocking one push at a time, traveling from here to Santa Cruz, delivering a message that we're not giving up on mental problems, neither should you. No person should live in silence. So if you're a military vet, I understand what PTSD is. Or if you're someone who is abused, raped, hurt, and you live every single day with that abuse and that trauma that you have to relive night and day, grab a board, grab rollerblades, grab a bike, hang out with us. Talk about it. Because nothing's better than talking about problems, about boarding and looking at beautiful things than sitting in a kumbaya circle saying, hey, my name is Nick and I've been abused. That's just awkward. And if anything, this will be something that will make you feel great. So join us as we start the Gump movement.
Gump Nation.
Gump Nation. Hashtag Gump movement. Thank you guys. And if no one does this, we're gonna do it anyway. And if you see us on the highway, just don't run over us. Yeah. Bye guys. All right, camera. We gotta get you some more storage. Apple,